All right, we're on the record in the matter of Gregory Martin, case 24PR00777. Time and place set for a continued hearing. I'll start by having the parties place their appearances on the record with petitioner.
Good morning, Your Honor. Megan Salisbury on behalf of petitioner Gazelle Fuller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Nathan Rudolph, bar number 124419, court-appointed attorney for respondent Gregory Martin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ross McKay-Wally, Greg Jr. here as a objector.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Selena Wilkes here as an objector.
Good morning. All right, so I was reviewing my notes. It looks like we left off on September 6th with Mr. Waleed was conducting his cross-examination of Mr. Wisdom. Does that sound right?
That's correct.
Okay, before we start with that, are there any preliminary matters for today?
Yes, Your Honor. I have three. At the last time we were here on the 6th, we heard that Mr. Wisdom was in possession of some funds that belong to the protected person. Subsequently, I sent a letter requesting not only to him, but to Ms. Wilkes, as well as to Luca Gorman and to Mr. Doyle, saying if you have anything that belongs to Mr. Martin, please provide it to my client, whether that be personal belongings like clothing, which would be nice for him to have, funds, any of those kind of things, and I have received no response. So I would like the court to...
Is Mr. Wisdom here today?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so how do you suggest we address that?
Given that those are things that specifically belong to the protected person, and they are the temporary guardian conservators, those assets shouldn't be continued to be held by someone who's not in charge of...
All right, well, let's have Mr. Wisdom come in and we'll address that issue as a preliminary matter today. Do you want to bring him in?
Certainly.
Hi, Mr. Wisdom. Come on up to the witness box here. I'll have you remain standing when you get here, and we'll put you under oath because it's a new day, and then we'll get started, okay?
Sciatic nerve sitting on those benches.
I've heard that those are not pleasant.
Do we get to respond to her response?
Yeah, we're going to do it this way, though.
Okay.
And to here?
It's right in front of you.
Okay. Okay. Again?
Please raise your right hand. Under the penalty of perjury, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please be seated. And for the record, please say your first and last name and spell them both.
It's Earl Wisdom.
All right, so Mr. Wisdom, we're taking up some preliminary matters first, then we're going to get back to the cross-examination that was happening, and Mr. Waleed was asking you questions. Are you able to hear me okay with the hearing device?
Yes.
I'll repeat myself, because I don't think you had it on. We're just dealing with some preliminary matters. We're not restarting the trial yet, but one of the preliminary matters involved you. So Ms. Salisbury, I'll have you start again.
Thank you, Your Honor. So we heard at the last, on the 6th, when you were here last time, that you are in receipt of funds that belong to the protected person. And so subsequently after that, I sent a letter requesting that all funds and personal property in your possession and the possession of Ms. Wilkes and in the possession of Mr. Doyle be provided to the appointed temporary fiduciaries, and I have received no response. So we're seeking for the courts to order those to be provided.
Okay, so Mr. Wisdom, they think that you have some things that belong to the protected person in this case, and because Ms. Fuller is currently the appointed temporary guardian, they've requested those things and they have a right to get those things. So I'll hear from you, Mr. Lee, but I don't know if there's much that you have to say about
Yes,
it,
I
but
can.
go ahead.
There's a whole lot. Yes, Mr. Wisdom did have those checks. I have those here in the courtroom today to bring to those. These were made out to my father on behalf of Mr. Gorman. He was the power of attorney at the time. There's 2 checks, I think, for $2,800 each. We have on our next hearing, next trial date, Mr. Luca was subpoenaed. He'll be here on behalf of one of my witnesses. We found some other things, but I have those if you'd like for me to give them to the court now.
Yeah, Mr. Lee, you can give those to Ms. Salisbury. I appreciate you bringing those. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
All right, so is there anything else in particular that...
If they do have his personal property or papers, like any of his estate planning or any of his clothing, that's being requested by the facility that he have clothing.
Okay, Mr. Wisdom, they think that you have some of the protected person's clothing. Does that sound right?
Clothing?
Yeah.
No,
You don't have any of his clothes?
nothing.
Okay, they also think you might have some papers, like an estate plan or something.
The only thing that I have, I think I still have them, is a copy of the directive.
The advance directive?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask that you provide that to Ms. Salisbury within 5 days from today, okay?
Okay,
You can just mail it to them. Do you have their address?
I will mail a copy, yes.
Okay,
Your Honor,
all right.
I
Mr. Lee?
believe he gave those to Megan, but I also have a copy of that directive as well as some deeds that were taken from the county records. And we found some other issues that we'll bring to the court's attention today or our next hearing. But I have a copy of that directive in here, as well as some of the deeds.
So are you willing to give those to Ms.
Sure,
Salisbury?
sure.
Okay, well, you can give them over. Did you have an original advance directive? Mr. Lee says he has a copy. The original?
Copies is what I got,
You just had copies?
right.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Ms. Wilkes?
may I say something?
Yes.
It's my understanding, and Mr. Wisdom can correct me if I'm wrong, he gave those to Megan Hoffman upon the first week. He met Megan Hoffman at the VA Medical Center. Do you recall that?
Yes,
So you need to let the judge know that those documents were given in person to Megan Hoffman.
I did give her a copy of
You need to let the
when I
judge know.
first met her there.
So, Ms. Salisbury, if you haven't followed up with Ms. Hoffman, I presume you have, but maybe that's an avenue too. But is there, Mr. Wade, are you still working on what?
I've got it right here.
Get
Got it
over
right here.
All right.
Yep.
Let's finish that up. Thank you.
The same request was made of Ms. Wilkes, as to whether or not she has items of his.
Okay, we'll take it one at a time.
Yeah, it looks like there's an email here too.
That's not an advanced healthcare directive, that's the power of attorney.
Oh,
Okay,
did you have this?
Those we have.
Okay.
so Mr. Wisdom, I am ordering you, to the extent that you have any property belonging to Gregory Martin Sr., it must be turned over to Ms. Salisbury's office within 5 days from today. So you need to go home, you need to look.
I have nothing else.
That's fine,
to
but
say.
but I want you to go home and look, because sometimes people forget, right?
Okay.
Go home and look, see if you get any property belonging to him, clothes, advance directives, papers, cell phones, money, anything that might belong to him that's his, you need to give to Ms. Salisbury within five days today. Though I'm wondering if it needs to actually go to Mr. Rudolph. But Mr. Rudolph, actually, I mean, you're the guardian, but Mr. Rudolph, you had a question, I think.
Your Honor, thank you. I would say that any property should go to the court-appointed
Okay,
fiduciary.
so
At
it's
this
gonna
point,
go to the guardian, okay? You mail it to, if you find anything, it needs to go to them within 5 days from today, okay? So I don't wanna hear that, next time you're here in 30 days from now, that you got a bunch of stuff at your house, because I'm not gonna be very happy, right?
Nope, nothing.
All right.
Your Honor, the only thing that I would add here is that because it seems that Mr. Wisdom was receiving checks from somebody else, I believe the order should be that not just that he turn over any property that he currently has, but any property that he receives in the future.
Okay, and that makes perfect sense. Thank you, Mr. Rupp. So to the extent that you receive anything in the mail for Mr. Martin Sr., you need to, within 5 days of receipt of anything, mail it to Ms. Salisbury's office, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to do it, we're going to do an order that talks about that today, okay? You guys are going to get that before you leave. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's actually better for you so that you don't need to worry about someone else's stuff. Just give it to someone else and now it's their problem, not yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Willie.
Yes, there is also, if you can put in that order, anything to Mr. Doyle, because he was receiving checks, I hear that he might have cashed a few already, quiet about it, he wanted those too, and.
So, Mr.
The lawyer, the
Mr.
Doyle.
You're telling me you believe Mr. Wisdom was receiving checks from Mr. Doyle?
No, Mr. Doyle was receiving checks on behalf of my father, and I believe he cashed a few, he wanted those two really bad, and Earl didn't give them to him, okay? And he was the attorney for my father, who got taken off the case earlier, I think in June. But I believe he might be in possession of a few, at least the order should go out to him too, his name on it.
The request was also made for him to turn over any paperwork that he may have. Obviously, that's not what is protected by attorney-client privilege. He also is non-responsive to a subpoena.
Okay, and he's not here, to be able to respond to it, so you have to file a motion to deal with that.
That's fine.
I think it's reasonable what you're telling me, and Mr. Relief, but he has a right to be heard on it. So
Absolutely.
okay, all right. Anything else, Ms. Salisbury?
Since Ms. Wilkes is also here, we made the same request. I would ask that she also.
All right, so Ms. Wilkes, I don't know if you have anything that belongs to Mr. Martin Sr., but same rule is going to apply to you as Mr. Wisdom. If you have, go home and check. If you have anything, any property that belongs to him, or you get anything mailed to you in the future that belongs to him, you need to turn it over within 5 days to Ms. Salisbury's office, okay?
Yes, sir. I don't have anything. Mr. Martin did not live in my home.
Okay, all
Thank
right.
you, Your
All
Honor.
right, yep.
Other issue that's come to our attention through the family is that there have been some YouTube videos of the protected person that have been posted, old videos that have been posted on YouTube. That's concerning, certainly on our side, regarding the ability of privacy and an invasion of his privacy where he's unable to consent to those type of videos being taken and then posted on YouTube for everybody to see. So we would like those to be taken down.
So, I guess I need more information about what these videos, what do they show, what information do you have about who is putting them on there?
We have copies of the videos, but they were videos, I believe, taken by Mr. Waleed that he then posted on YouTube without the consent of the guardian of his father in care facilities, and without anybody's consent.
Okay,
To do that.
Mr. Waleed?
That is not true. We have a video that's in the evidence, respondent's evidence, is of June 20th, 1993, Father's Family Day with my father, his mother.
That's not what you're talking about, though. You're talking about something rather new. Yeah.
Yes, there is. When we went to see him after the court, it was talked about that my father wasn't speaking to any of them. My father spoke to me when I asked him a question for 10, 20 seconds about, are you having any dreams, Father? And he responded quick right away.
And you have a video of that?
Yeah, it's in evidence.
Okay, so two things. First, just a reminder. Just because you submitted an exhibit to my clerk or because you mailed something in the court does not mean it's part of the court record. So remember, you need to ask for those to be introduced during this trial.
Yes.
I'm not sure that anything's been introduced on Mr. Waleed's side.
No, we
Is that
just
true?
uploaded it. We got an email.
I just want to clarify that issue for you because I don't want this to be a surprise to you
Gotcha.
later when we end the trial and you're
Okay.
like, "Oh, I thought you saw that." No, I don't
Okay.
see anything until it's admitted in court. Okay,
Okay.
so let's just check, Jasmine.
Two things were admitted. Objectives Exhibit L, which were RKW, Oregon, Washington, and Montana State Electrical Verification Forms.
So some electrical verification forms were admitted
And then Objectives Exhibit P, which was a letter to Judge Henry.
and a letter to Judge.
The first one was not received. It was
Oh.
deferred.
All right, so I'm going to have you check in with Jasmine when we finish here to see what is in and what isn't.
The only
There's-
thing that's in is the letter to Judge Henry.
The other thing that's in evidence of was a letter that was sent to Judge Henry. So I just want you to know that. This is that if you want something in, you need to do it during the case. I don't want you to be confused and think because you filed it with the court or because you handed it to Jasmine on Sunday that I've seen it and it's in evidence. It's not.
Gotcha.
So, and same goes for you, Ms. Wilkes, and anyone else there. Now, back to the YouTube question. Yes, if you have a video that shows that your dad was talking to you, that would be relevant evidence to show during your case.
Yes.
That said, it's not appropriate. I don't know if you are or aren't posting these things on YouTube, but it's inappropriate to be posting videos without the guardian's permission. At this point, it's Ms. Fuller and or the protected person, your dad's permission, when he's in a hospital setting. And so I don't know if it's happening or not, and so I'm not making any rulings on that.
Yeah.
What I am saying is, if anybody posted anything on YouTube, I'm ordering that it be taken down within 24 hours from now. Actually, within 24 hours. We're going to finish court today at 5 o'clock. So it needs to be taken down by 5 p.m. What's today? The 26th needs to be taken down by 5 p.m. on the 27th. So if anybody posted anything on YouTube with Mr. Martin, it needs to be taken down by that time. And if it isn't, I'm not going to be very happy. I don't think that any of us would like, right? I mean, if I'm in the hospital someday and I'm not doing well and my kid posts something on YouTube, I'm not going to be very happy about that. And so I'm doing this to protect Mr. Martin's senior privacy, okay? But that's different, sir, than you presenting a video in court that's evidence of whether he's incapacitated or not. Two different issues,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. Anything further on that issue?
Not on that issue.
All right. And we'll add that to the order here. Anything else?
Last thing, Ms. Fosbach was served a subpoena. She's, well, there you go.
Oh, there you
She's
go.
obviously,
Yep.
she's been here the whole time.
Yes.
So I would move to squash that subpoena since she's been
Objection.
here the whole time.
So you served the subpoena?
Yes, I did. She was served
Okay.
to appear to
Right.
ask some questions because she
Yeah.
was never put on the
Right.
stand as a petitioner.
So, I mean, she's been here listening, but she didn't know but now that she's here, she's going to be excluded as a witness.
There we go.
You just know that she's been sitting here the whole time.
Yeah, that was understandable.
Yeah.
They chose
Okay.
not to
All right.
put her
So
up there.
if she's been subpoenaed, then Ms. Fosbeck will need to wait in the hall. Okay. Yeah. Hi. All right. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Anything other preliminary matters?
No.
All right, so we're going till noon today. I have ex parte from 1:30 until 2, and then I have a 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then we go back with you guys from 3 to 5, right? All right. So, Ms. Wilkes, we were on your case. You called Mr. Wisdom, and
Yes.
then we were on Mr. Waleed. You were doing cross-examining Mr. Wisdom. So go ahead.
Good morning, Earl. How you doing? We were last talking about my father. You didn't know that he was removed to a facility out of the hospital, did you?
Yes.
Okay. And I'd like to talk today about were you at the July 29th, 2024 ex parte hearing? Were you at the July 29th, 2024 ex parte contested hearing in front of Judge Alicorn?
Yes.
You were there?
Oh, wait a minute. Which date?
July the 29th.
I was at a few hearings.
Did you get, can I rephrase the question?
Okay.
Did you get notice of a July 29th, 2024 ex parte within 24 hours notice to be at a hearing on July the 29th in front of Judge Alicorn?
I don't remember if I got a notice.
Where were you on July 29th, 2024?
What day did we close at?
Just give us a moment, we'll look at it. That was a Monday. You want me to rephrase that?
Yeah.
Have you ever been this year concerning the matter of my father in front of any other judge besides Judge Henry?
And Judge Raydell. That's the only two.
Okay. So let me rephrase that. Were you on July 29th here at the Multnomah County Courthouse in front of Judge Alicorn concerning my father's matter? It was an ex parte motion. Were you here in front of Judge Alicorn?
No.
Thank you. Did you get notice that you were supposed to be here from anyone?
That may have been the one notice that was dated like 6 days before I got it in the mail. The day after the hearing.
Would you like to hear any minutes or from that hearing itself?
Yeah, if it concerns me.
Your Honor, we have submitted into evidence that the respondent's exhibit number 106. It is the July 29, 2024. It's about 4 minutes. It's the actual hearing in front of Judge Alicorn where neither one of us were noticed to be there. Everyone else was there. We didn't get that 24-hour notice. It's an appeal issue, so we'll pick that up later. But we did submit that, and we'd like to know if we could play that little 4-minute clip of that July 29th meeting that's in evidence. Well, not in evidence, it's been submitted.
Let me ask, is there a stipulation that Mr. Wisdom wasn't there, Ms. Salisbury?
It was, the prior notice was waived on.
I know, but that's not what he's asking. He wants to play this FTR, I presume.
Yep, sir.
For the purposes of proving to the court that Mr. Wisdom wasn't there because Mr. Wisdom apparently doesn't remember. Are you willing to stipulate that Mr. Wisdom wasn't there on July 29th?
Yeah.
All right, so they're stipulating and agreeing that Mr. Wisdom wasn't there on July 29th. Is that sufficient for
That's
you?
sufficient for now.
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
we don't need to admit that recording. Is that?
I would like to, because if he wasn't here, he missed out of what was so important that day that none of us were there.
Well, I mean, but that's whether listening to the recording because he wants to know what happened. That's not relevant to this trial. So I guess I'm asking you because they're stipulating and agreeing that he wasn't there on the July 29th.
Okay,
They're agreeing
that's
to
fine.
that.
That's good enough.
So we don't need that recording.
That's
okay.
fine. That's
All right,
fine.
go
Let's
ahead
keep
then.
it moving.
Thank you.
Do you know what happened that day, July 29th, 2024?
If that's the day that the judge signed them as fiduciaries and also their intent to file a lease pending against my property, that I know what happened. He signed it.
I don't want to testify. Do you recall the July 29th meeting that you weren't at?
No, I don't recall any being there, so I know nothing about it.
Would you like to know something about it?
it pertains to me or my business or Greg Barton, and as his second power of attorney, yes.
Would you like to know why you want notice to be at that meeting?
Yes, definitely.
And you already stated that you didn't receive notice, correct?
I received a notice that was dated 5 days prior to the hearing. I received it in the mail on the 6th day.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about two different dates.
Yeah, I mean, it's your case, so
I
you
got
need
you.
to figure it out.
I got you. Okay,
On the dates, I'm not sure which one it is.
okay. Well, were there other hearing dates that you recall that you got no notice?
Or the notice was late that I received it.
Would you have liked to have received notice of the July 29, 2024 date?
Yes, I would have.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would like to put into evidence a document I've already given both of these, Mr. Rudolph and Mrs. Salisbury, a copy of the Oregon Code of Judicial Conduct. It's, I'm looking at rule number 3.9, ex parte communications. And my concern is, this is not about the appeals. It's for him not receiving, or any of us not receiving that notice. It put one of the judges kind of in a bad position where they violated one of the codes of judicial conduct by having the hearing and not having us present. And none of the parties at that meeting that are here today objected to any of us not being there. So I'd like to submit this into evidence. This is the Oregon Judicial Code of, it's Rule 3.9. It just deals with this matter. It's not about the appeals issue. We just like to submit this into evidence so it can be considered.
So I can,
Judicial.
like the law, right? I can take judicial notice of
Yes, you can.
the Oregon
Okay,
Code of
that'd be-
Judicial Conduct and
That'd be the better.
the lawyer code
Okay.
of conduct and all those things. I mean, if you want to put it in, it's fine. but
Okay, I'd like to put it in.
All right. So what are we on with Mr. William? I know we came up with a numbering system. I just forgot.
Yes, we do. Nothing got put in. This would be probably the first
That's right.
real.
We had a system on what numbers
Yes, you
were for what people.
Okay, I'll let you figure that out.
So since I have it marked A through K, but you didn't offer any of those, so
Okay.
I'm going to start again at A.
Thank you.
So
All right. So I'm marking this as OWA, which is objector relieved. That's where we got the W. And it's A as an apple.
A is
A is an apple, which is a copy of the Oregon Code of Judicial Conduct. Is that right, Mr. Williams?
Yes, it is.
All right, Mr. Rudolph. You just looked like you.
Your Honor, I have
something.
no objection to you taking judicial notice of the Oregon Judicial Code of Conduct. The document that Mr. Willie provided to us is from 2013. I believe that we're on 2023 now, so I would object to the 2013 code coming in, but I certainly have no objection to the current Oregon Judicial Code of Conduct being judicial.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I'll take judicial notice of the current, obviously the current law
Actually,
and the
on
current
the
code.
website of the Judicial Committee, that is the only version 2013 that they have online.
Okay. Well, I'm going to admit it into evidence.
Okay.
I'm only going to I'm going to consider whatever the current judicial code is,
Thank you.
or whatever relevance it may have in this matter. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Here we go. Let's move on. Do you recall a list pendants filed against your property?
I checked with the records department in Multnomah County, and the only thing I could find on the report was a little pending up on top. It doesn't state it's a lease pending, just a word pending. And they told me that
Objection, hearsay?
Sustained.
it was explained to me.
Objection.
Okay, you just can't talk about what people told you, okay?
Did you go down to the county record and records office and obtain your own certified copy of the list pendants?
Yes,
So you are aware personally, firsthand knowledge of what was on that list pendants, that document that was filed?
yes.
Did you have any difficulties obtaining that document? You said, did you go, how many times did you go?
3,
How successful were you on those 3 different occurrences, if you can explain to the court today?
I could not find a copy of a lien document. The only thing I found was that pending up on top.
Okay, and can you describe how did you find it? I mean, was it 1 time, 2? How long did it take you to get that particular document?
Well, the second time I was there,
Okay.
I actually got a copy, but it was in a different file, printed out, where Judge Henry had signed the paper.
Your Honor, I'd like to submit into evidence, Ms. Salisbury and Mr. Rudolph both have a copy of this list pendants given to them today. This is what Mr. Wisdom is talking about. I'd like to submit this into evidence.
Okay. Any objection?
Huh?
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, it will be acceptable. Mark this as OWB as in boy. Is that all right?
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Could you tell us what you know about a list pendants or what was in that document that concerned your personal interest?
It was put on my property, my personal house.
Okay. What other documents, when you were at the county recorder's office, did you obtain certified copies of?
There were some deed changes from your father to Selena. This was, your father had done this through an attorney, and that's about what it was.
Are you aware that on February the 27th, 2023, that Luca Gorman and the document that you are talking about, both deeds or notices of deeds from 2 separate parties were included in those documents, correct?
That's right.
Your Honor, I'd like to enter into evidence a deed and a notice of a deed, actually notice of the deed that was supposed to be transferred from my father to Earl Wisdom and Selena. I'd like both Ms. Salisbury and Mr. Rudolph have a copy of that. I'd like to submit that into the record.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right. To made it, we'll mark this as OWC as in Charlie.
were you on February the 27th, 2023?
I was probably working. As a matter of fact, that was my birthday. So I worked until probably about 5 p.m.
Okay. On February the 27th, 2023, do you know where my father was?
No,
Do you believe on that notice of a deed, why is your name on there to receive a third-party property from my father for $1?
is that the one for 28?
Would you like to see that?
Yes.
Mr. Rudolph, can you see your copy? I just turned mine into the court.
I don't know which document.
Okay, gotcha. Here, I have it run right here. Here's the original certified. May I give this to him to recall?
To refresh his recollection, sure.
Yes, just so he can.
Yeah, you can hand it to him, so Mr. Wisdom, you can read it, and then when you're done reading it, hand it back to Mr. Waleed, and then Mr. Waleed can ask you a question.
Can't read. Yeah, this is part of the copies that I picked up.
Now, does it talk about you getting 2812 Northeast Alberta?
That's 2812 Northeast Alberta, yeah.
Okay, can you recall why your name is on there?
It was what?
Can you recall why your name is on that document to receive that property?
First time I saw these was when I pulled it up from the records department.
Okay, in regards to the list pendants that was filed
Right.
by the Willamette Law Firm, are you aware that as a fiduciary that you cannot have your principal, whoever it is, put property in your name? Are you aware of that by law?
I did not know anything about this at all until I pulled it up here.
Have you ever heard of self-dealing?
Heard of what?
It's a fiduciary principle called self-dealing.
No.
Okay. And the property was 2812 Northeast Alberta, right? The property that you were supposed to receive is 2812 Northeast Alberta, correct?
According to this, yes.
Okay, and can you read the dates that the notary signed on there? Can you read to the notary's name to the court?
Okay. There was 3 different dates.
Can
March
you read those?
27th.
Can you read those dates?
Oh, no, that's commission expires, okay. 4/27/23, March 27th, April, and it almost looks like maybe a February.
Okay. Have you ever seen a document with 3 different dates from a notary on it?
That's a first for me because I've had things notarized before, and it's always one date.
Okay. And I can take those back from you. What's the address that it says your name is on there that you're supposed to receive which property?
2812 Northeast Alberta.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to submit into evidence Mrs. Salisbury and Mr. Rudolph both have this other document by Luca Gorman on the same date, February the 27th. Looks like we might have 2 different parties. having alleged my father signed property over 2 different locations. We're trying to, he says he didn't know where my father
Okay,
was.
so any objection to what Mr. Lee is asking to amend?
To confirm, is that the statutory warranty deed?
Yeah, yes.
No
it is.
objection.
No objection.
2812 Northeast Alberta.
All right, so
Okay.
if there's no objection, this will be admitted. It will be marked as OWD as in David.
Do you know Mr. Luca Gorman?
I don't think I've met him, talked to him on the phone.
Okay. Can you explain to the court who wrote you or sent you checks? How did you receive checks from Mr. Gorman? The 2 that were given to the fiduciaries today.
They were sent to my address as the power of attorney to receive them.
Okay. And for which property were those payments?
2812 Northeast Alberta.
And that would be the same property that's on the deed with your name to receive the property?
Mm-hmm.
As well as, did you get a copy of did you see the 2812 Northeast Alberta title warranty by Luca?
This is 2 of the same paper.
What's that?
Both the same paper.
Oh, those are the ones you're on. I'm sorry, I didn't give you a copy of. Thank you. We take this back. Let me pull out the copy. $5105. Now, I submitted this in evidence, but I wanted to let him see this copy that he was, might be confused about.
That one's already in evidence.
Yes, in evidence. I just want him to
Okay.
be able to see it while he's on the stand.
All right.
If you can, is that the certified document that you got from the records department?
Yes.
Can you read the date that it was certified?
The date it was certified. (9/9/24).
Okay. Can you open up to page 2 where the notary's signature is?
Okay.
Can you explain to the court what you see? Can you read the notary's name?
The notary is Dorothy I. Schmaltz.
Does she have a nickname?
It doesn't say on here, but it looks like a D. Schmaltz on the handwriting.
Okay. Can you tell us the date that that document was notarized?
It was notarized February 27th, 23.
2023?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same date of the document that has your name on it that we already submitted, this one here?
Yes.
Is that the same date?
Right.
I would just ask the question, how are 2 documents, or are you curious about the 2 documents having the exact same date for the same property being signed over to 2 different people on the same date?
Yeah.
Does that make
Makes
you...
sense.
Maybe I don't have the. I'm sure I have your pod. Maybe I don't have the right documents in front of me. So I have document C and document D. Which one is he referring to?
He's referring to the second set I just put up there with Luca Gorman. It's a warranty title, or...
From Court Title?
Yes.
Because it's marked as D.
Yes, if you open the second page, it's going to have should have a February 27th date with the notary.
I don't see anything about February 27th.
This is where the notary is. It says February 27th. Maybe you don't. If you don't have that,
Here, you can come look at it, Mr. Lee.
You're right.
I don't
Sorry.
see February
I probably gave
27th
you the
in there.
wrong one. Sorry if I did.
Maybe I got the wrong one.
Oh, that is. That's 2511. Here we go. Just a moment here. 2511. Just a moment. Let me submit this one.
All right, so let's make sure that they have it.
Yeah, they have a copy of this already. This is 2811, 2812 Northeast Alberta. It's the same. I just have the long version that was notarized. It's the same one I gave you this morning, Mr. Rudolph.
Right. Any objection to what Mr. Lee just would like to admit?
No objection.
So is that different than
So we're
OWD?
gonna what Mr. Lee originally submitted is OWD as in David. We're withdrawing that because it was he just gave me one
Yes.
wrong
Okay.
piece of paper, I think. And we're gonna label this one as OWD as in David. Ms. Wilkes, you got a question?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't have any of the copies that they're referring to.
Okay. Well, Mr. Lee, can you
I've got
show
you. I've got it right here.
Ms. Wilkes?
Yes, I will. This is it here.
Thank you.
This is the one with page 2. It's on the same date. See the date?
Thank you.
February the 27th. And these are the ones we're talking about from the February the 27th date that was crossed off by notary.
Ms. Wilkes, do you have any objection to OWD as in David exhibit?
The papers that he just gave me is 2 different property address sites.
Oh,
And he has not.
no, they have
He's
this.
just been talking about Northeast 28th in Alberta.
We haven't gotten to the 616 North Beach. We're talking about the same date, the same properties being signed by different people. On behalf of my father, or he was there at one location, maybe 2 weeks.
I just want to make sure that Ms. Wilkes has a copy
That's
of
what we're
whatever
talking
it is
about.
that you'd like to
You can have
admit.
those.
Okay,
You
thank
can
you.
have those, yeah.
All right, so Ms. Wilkes, do you need time to read it still?
No, thank you.
Okay, do you have any objection to OWD as in David being admitted into evidence?
It's confusing, but they should be submitted in order to get a clarification on what's going on.
All right, OWD as in David will be admitted without objection. If Mr. Lee, you could bring those up
Yeah.
to my clerk.
Yeah, you can have this copy. Here's the 2812, exact same one, just a smaller version. Here it is right here.
Don't they tell you at the title office when they're unstapled, they're not classified as being notarized still anymore?
Actually, these didn't come in as staple. They came like this. They're 2 actually separate documents. They have different numbers on them too. 5968 and 5969. And those are Lucas right there.
This is title Lucas.
The address is what I'm looking at. There's the 2812. Just on the same date, February the 27th, both documents for the same property by 2 different people were signed.
He went to the same notary though.
No, they're different notaries. One is Dorothy, these two are the same because they were 616 and 2812. This is a separate right there, which you're.
And that's Dorothy's notary.
No, yeah, that's Dorothy's notary for Luca. She signed for Luca on the same date, February 27th, 2023.
But these are dated April 27th.
No, they're not. They're not. They were dated February,
Right there, Lord.
March, and then April.
Right there.
Yeah, no, I know that's you.
Okay.
Okay, and this one was dated March and then April. It was crossed out, but it was put February the 27th, 2023. She crossed it out, put a signature on it.
That's April 27th,
It's a
2023.
February and
Okay,
a March.
here's what we're gonna do. It's almost lunchtime, so we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
And we're gonna resume at 3, is that right?
Yes.
So there's no OWD as in David in evidence yet.
Got it.
I realize it can be a little difficult when we have a number of parties and a lot of documents, but I would ask the parties to indulge the court, and to the extent they expect to admit exhibits,
Yes.
spend some time over the lunch hour sharing them with the
Okay.
parties
You got
and see if we can make some agreements and on admission, and if we can't, that's fine, we'll take them up when I come back, but what I don't want to have is we just wasted 10 minutes right there, okay? And we just can't do that, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you both. We'll see you at 3.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Aaron.